Hello and welcome back to coverage here at Grand Prix Oklahoma City. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Jacob Van Lunen. What do we got? Round 4 here, Jake, all lined up, and it's going to be Steve Rubin playing Tron. I'm going to talk to you about this in just a second.
I want to talk about it.
Yeah, on the other side of the table, Dominic Walter is playing Boggles, is what we call it, which has always bothered me because the card is called Slippery Bogle, but here we are. Is that Dryad Arbor? It is that Dryad Arbor.
The thing confuses me 100% of the time.
That card bothers me. It looks like a forest.
It does. It looks too much like a farce.
The only reason I knew it was the Dryad Arbor is just because it's so shiny. It has that special foiling that came in those sets. It looks a little different, a little rainbowy, a little. Anyway, other side of the table. This is really interesting to me. Steve Rubin's on Tron. Tron's a deck that has been around in Modern for a long time, has a big following. It's popular. You know what I don't see very often? Pros playing it.
Yeah. Now
what is going on here?
Last weekend, the North Dakota State Championship, which was Modern, was won by Red Green Tron, and it was played by Corey Baumeister. And I think that might be one of the biggest reasons. I mean, Brad Nelson has kind of been playing some Tron on Magic Online over the last 2 weeks, and when you play against Brad in a Modern queue, or when you play against Brad in any sort of constructed queue, and he's playing a certain deck, I think the first thing that people who really like winning do is they build the deck that he was playing. And, Corey won state championships with the Tron deck. People have been doing really well with the deck, and here now we see professionals.
I love this, by the way. This is a really popular deck. Like, it has a huge following in Modern. It is kind of it's the Timmy deck of the format, right? Timmy being the psychographic for people that like to make big things happen. Big, splashy, crazy stuff. And this is where you can do exactly that. We see Steve Rubin with the Relic of Progenitus here. That is a main deck card in a lot of these red-green Tron decks. And he's also got Sylvan Scrying, and well, look at this. A power plant, a mine. He is simply one Urza's Tower away from Tron. This is what we call it, Urzatron. When those 3 lands hit the battlefield together, they produce 2, 2, and 3 mana, respectively 7 mana from 3 lands. And then that's when the big hitters start coming down. Let's see what the big hitters are here for Rubin. He's got 2 Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. Now, this is an interesting big hitter because it can also be small. It's Walking Ballista. He's got 2 of those. Yep. So that's one you can do. He's got a World Breaker, 3 Wormcoil Engine. You like big hitters? I'm not done yet. 4 Karn Liberated. But wait, there's more. 2 Ugin the Spirit Dragon. So Steve Rubin, let's just say he is packing a lot of haymakers in this deck, and he's going to be able to take over once he gets to untap. And the bad news for the Boggles player, not a lot of interaction coming from that side of the table.
No, he might have 1 path main, maybe 2. Let's think of he has 1 path, and then maybe a couple more on the board. Yeah, 2 more paths on the board. He does have Gaddock Teagues post sideboard.
Okay.
Which are pretty good in this matchup. One of the major problems, though, is that he's not playing it. Okay. Interesting. I assume that Steve might have some copy of Platinum Angel in his sideboard also. I understand that card dies to Path to Exile, but it's the type of card that they need to have the path and wins the game by itself. So now Dominic, pretty excited here to be suiting up a Spirit Dancer with all sorts of enchantments, and this is nothing coming from Steve.
This is kind of Plan B or Plan 1A is putting all these cards on a core Spirit Dancer. The downside to this method, of course, is that it does not have hexproof, and it can be messed with. The upside to it, though, of course, is very high. You get to draw a card for each of these that you do. Thank you, Judge. Thank you. He had that Dryad Arbor underneath the other land, and it's like that card already just drives me insane. And then when it's like sort of obfuscated, I'm just like, ugh. The good news is that it doesn't, affect anything here. And Steve Rubin, he's kind of goldfishing at this point, right? He's just like, I'm going to be doing my thing over here. A Karn would be nice here, by the way.
I believe he does have a Karn.
Oh, baby.
I think that
the Karn Father could arrive.
I think so. I mean, Unfortunate for him that he didn't have an Ugin before the draw step.
Wow, he just drew one.
because he could have used it to clean up the whole board. But
exile your core Spirit Dancer. Now, that does leave Dominic Walter with 2 power on the battlefield here.
Mm-hmm.
And he does get the Rancor back, right?
He does.
So, effectively 4 power, and Rubin's at 10, though Dominic, of course, is going to have to respect Karn Daddy.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Going to have to send a creature Karn probably here.
Yeah, if he can't kill Steve on this turn, then I imagine we're going to see him kill Karn at the very least.
Yeah, and with the amount of mana that he has, it is a tough sell to get up from 2 to 10. Likely not possible, even if you went like...
It's possible with like multiple ethereal armors if he's able to play like a 4th land, right?
Is it though?
Yeah, if you play a land, then he plays 4 ethereal armors on that warrior. Or
but he
something.
can't.
Yeah. Well, he's the Forester. He plays like a Rancor.
It's not a forest either.
No, the Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, see, they got you.
Yeah, every time. No, I mean, but he has the Dryad Arbor, which is a forest. It is a forest.
Actually, you're right.
It is
a forest. You're
right?
totally right, Jake. I take it all back.
it
It is so much more than a forest. But all right, well, here's Cartouche. And there's the Rancor. Okay, so this is a nice little threat, and certainly enough. And there's another Rancor. So 2, 4, 5, 6 damage that he can get through this turn. Mm-hmm. Again, getting up to 10 is difficult, but this is pretty good. He attacked Rubin.
Oh, wow.
I am shocked at that.
I'm also shocked at that.
Now Karn can get activated and just kill that warrior or kill the Dryad Arbor. Actually, yeah, this is really bad because he can go minus Karn, kill your Dryad Arbor, play Ugin, 0. That's 2 lands in play for Dominic Walter. Oh, looks like Steve has other options lined up here as well.
Yeah, it's going upstairs.
Yeah, just going to make him exile a card. Make sure it's set aside, though. I know it doesn't come up often, but remember, if you ultimate Karn, you get those cards.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what that was. I can't actually see it. Is it a... But, just something to keep in mind. How...
Is Dryad Arbor green?
Well, it's a land.
I think it's also green.
It's
though.
also green?
Yeah. It's the most confusing Magic card of all time.
Of course it's green, because you can green Sun Zenith for it.
Yes.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's game day.
So you're a smart person.
Oh, good, clean fun here. Red Green Tron versus Boggles. This is the Magic Online matchup of the day. If you play a lot, you'll definitely find people playing Tron a lot. And then Boggles is it appeals to a certain type of player. It hits really well in certain metagames and then less well in others.
Yeah, I mean, Boggles can be good.
Yeah, it often isn't. It's weird. I actually think I overrated it. I was having a chat with Maria,
okay.
From coverage and from Magic the Amateur, and she's a Boggles player. She has played Boggles for quite a while. And, I put it in like the tier 1.5 camp when we were talking. And she's like, honestly, tier 2, 2.5 in most scenarios. And I was like, right. Okay, I'm overrating it then.
Yeah.
So it's a little... It needs a very specific set of circumstances to exist for it to be great.
Yeah, like you're not gonna do particularly well with it if you just grind it on Magic Online all the time, 100% of the time. But you can find spots, weeks, days where it's particularly good against a metagame that's full of decks like Jeskai or decks that are just piles of spot removal essentially. But when you have to play against people who are being more interactive, when you have to play against like real combo decks. It's just it's not quite as powerful as a lot of the other things people do in this format. I do, however, think that it can be a great choice, and on any particular week. Like every dog has its day in Modern, and I think it's wise to recognize what everybody else is going to be playing, and also just to get correct matchups.
By the way, that is Zach Elsik back there sitting next to our own Rich Hagen. which I love seeing him down in the feature match area because you realize, Jake, that he went from being Zach Elsik to the Lantern guy here.
Yes, this is where he won the Grand Prix. I
Right
was
here.
here with you.
Yes. GP Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
We were
The most excited
flabbergasted as he went through the field with horrendous, unplayable, jank, throwaway draft unplayables.
And now that's like a pillar of the
And
format.
now it's a real deck.
Yeah.
And he popularized it.
He did. Did he invent it?
I don't know. I always assume that it was collaborative among like multiple people and that he put together the version that he did, but that it wasn't like there's so few just purely novel ideas that I assume not, but there's every chance that he did. And certainly he's the one that gets credit for it, as he's the one that put together the version and then won with it. You know, that's what put it on the map, was him winning the GP with it. And it was one of the most fun tournaments I've ever covered.
Absolutely.
And I've covered a lot of, I was going to say something bad. I've covered a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
And seeing, to me, that is what we saw Zach Elsik do here in Oklahoma City a few years ago was the dream of every Magic player that plays Constructed, I think, which is
Make the brew.
I made a brew with bad cards,
Yeah.
and I beat the best. I beat everybody in the room, and I took home the trophy. I mean, how in the world are you playing, Lantern of Insight? That card does nothing at all. In Modern, of the really popular formats, easily the most powerful, right? Because, Vintage and Legacy are more powerful, but Modern gets played much more widely than those formats do. And he's just like, I'm just going to play this artifact that just does stone nothing and just crush everybody with it.
It's the beauty of this format, though, is I think it really does have a lot of room for innovation. I think it's very possible that somebody who built their deck last night wins this tournament. And I don't think that's overwhelmingly likely, but it's something that can easily happen at a Modern event. And there aren't many constructed formats where that could happen.
By the way, chat did back up my assumption there. They said, correct, he did not invent the deck,
Okay.
but he did fine-tune it and bring that specific version to the GP. And, of course, he popularized it. I mean, he's going to... And that's just how history works with these type of decks and things, is that it's not super relevant who built it originally. It's who won with it and who made it, put it on the map, and that was Zach. What a fun tournament to watch, too. All right, well, these guys have finally finished. Wow, we talked a lot, and they still haven't started game two yet.
This could be a very fast match, though. I mean...
Yes, that is true. They don't need to be in a particular rush here. I mentioned it before. Maybe you can help expand on what I was saying before, but it felt like the players were gold fishing.
Yes.
Can you explain what that means to people that are like, what is he talking about? Why are they fishing all of a sudden?
So what I meant by gold fishing was that they're kind of like playing a game on their kitchen table where there's just a fishbowl and there's no opponent.
Yeah, just
where
them,
you're
just drawing off the top of your own library. And
you're envisioning what your opponent would be doing and playing.
We're underway here. Dominic Walter kicks things off with the namesake card for the deck, the slipperiest of Bogles. And now can he go off? Because this is him on the play with a Bogle, and this is where things can start to get out of hand. Though this turn looks pretty pedestrian. An Ethereal Armor, no land drop. Uh-oh.
It can grow really quick, though. I mean, even if he doesn't have another land, if he plays a Rancor on the following turn, then he's attacking for 5. And then another one, and he's suddenly attacking for, 8. So.
Well, how about a Hyena Umbra?
That's 4.
It's 4 damage. It's not particularly explosive, if we're being honest, but it's good. It's a good clock. And Steve Rubin often doesn't do anything in these early turns, and that's where we're at here. Oh, there's Oblivion Stone, but that's slow.
That is slow. And, Dominic Walter has a turn 5 kill on the play that is hexproof with this terrible draw.
With this bad draw. And look at this. No aura here. Just passes the turn back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big draw, though, because he went Tower, Tower, Sanctum. Now he has a Mine. He's getting close. He cannot activate his Oblivion Stone this turn, so he's going to fall to 6. But Dominic is on nothing. He is all in on this plan. Oh, it was another tower off the top. Not what he wanted. Though it does give him the 5th mana. Yeah, so this is Hyena Umbra. And what's going to happen is if Steve activates the Oblivion Stone, he'll be able to save his creature. Dominic will with that Hyena Umbra.
Yeah, the Hyena Umbra will fall off, but...
Now, one question, though. So will the...
this is an interesting question.
What's it called? The Ethereal Armor will as well, right?
Yeah, because the Oblivion Stone's going to kill the Umbra along with everything else. So does the Umbra save...
It does save
right?
it. But, but what I'm asking is he will lose the Ethereal Armor as well, right?
Yes.
He will be left with
absolutely
just a
lose the Ethereal Armor.
Shivering, lonely, slippery bogle.
Yeah, it's just this 1/1
one power.
Hey, guys.
I don't think I have what it takes. But he does, though, have Steve Rubin down to just 6.
I mean, had he had a more aggressive draw, I think this game would have been a slam dunk for him, had he had a 2nd or 3rd land.
I agree. Yeah, I agree for sure. Funny part is this thing gets completely out of hand if Steve just rips a power plant, too, because he's got 3 towers going.
Yeah, that's just... It
he would
instantly
have
explodes
13 mana.
yeah, I think...
Boom.
Just absurd. He'd have access to like 14 mana on the following turn. He's one short of tearing up some eons. Okay, so this is a suppression field, and this says that activated abilities, you have to pay mana to 2 extra mana for them. So Steve Rubin needs to use his Oblivion Stone before that suppression field.
Which is fine. Like, from Steve's perspective, it's the same result. He's still just taking the 1 damage from the Bogle that he would have taken anyway.
Oh, wow. That's 14 mana available.
He just did it. He hit the power plant off the top of the library. 3, 6, 9, 10, 14. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, he could just Ulamog here and exile both of Dominic's lands.
You know what I think I would do? I think I'd probably Ulamog here and just exile both of Dominic's lands.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do, too.
I like your line, Jake. I'm into this. Those are exiled.
Yeah. No, I can search his library for...
they are exiled, right?
I believe they should be exiled, yes. Now, Steve, typically when sacrificing the Sanctum of Ugin would go and find himself another copy of Ugin, but right now he has the other copy of Ugin in his hand already, so...
You mean Ugin the Spirit Dragon?
Oh, I'm sorry, another copy of Ulamog.
Ulamog, there we go. That's where I thought you were going with that.
Yeah, I mean, he has it in his hand, so it's...
So Dominic has to look at this like, wait, you went and got a worm coil engine?
Yeah.
That can't be good for me. That can't be good for me. What's in your hand? And now Steve has pretty good blocker.
Yeah.
Not bad. Pretty good
sizable
blocker
guy.
Here. Yeah. Good body to just throw in front of the 1/1. So, yeah, 10/10 indestructible at 5 life on an opponent with a suppression field and a Bogle. Well, I think that Big Daddy Ulamog is going to start gobbling up library lunch, and this one's going to be about done. Our Pro Tour champion, Steve Rubin, is going to win the match 2-0 over Dominic Walter, simply surviving long enough, and all Dominic needed was a land.
Yeah,
he had
one more
great
land.
Hand. He had 3 or 4 draw steps to hit a land and probably close the door on this game. Couldn't quite get there, and Steve Rubin takes the match 2-0.
Oh, and look at this. So Zach Elsik in his element, an empty hand and a Staring Bridge in play.
All right, let's go for a live look at... Oh, God. Oh, man, we get to see Lantern Guy do Lantern things. You know, he doesn't always play this deck. I jokingly started calling him Lantern Guy at the time just because he was dominating the field with this crazy Lantern deck. But he has also played a lot of other decks in the intermediary. He's going to cast Periphery Nodes here. Okay, so I'm going to... Have you digested this board yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so how bad is this for Aysha?
So Aysha is just like in a nightmare situation because no matter what is on the top of her deck, Zach can just put it in her graveyard using the Codex Shredder, and she can never Oh, so the ley line is protecting her from that. So he needs something like a Ghoul Caller's Bell in order to control the top for a library. But right now she can't really do anything regardless because ensnaring bridge.
Yeah.
He can just empty his hand every single turn, and that Porphyry Nodes is just going to eat her board slowly over the course of time. Seal is a pretty good card, though, to have on the top for a library.
Especially given that there we go. He used the Pixis there.
Yeah, and now the Pixis is very good at, allowing him to do the same thing.
Yeah, and this is how this deck works on the Lantern side, is that right now Zach is envisioning her entire deck list in front of him, and now slowly but surely he's taking swaths of it away, right? Creatures, those all don't matter. Those are all gone. Doesn't matter anymore. Like that, who cares? Have it. Love it. Enjoy it. Make a bogle. Leyline of Sanctity, great. You've already got one. It doesn't do anything. You can have it. The only cards that he cares about are cards that interact with his ability to maintain this, like that Seal of Primordium that we saw. And that list has gotten very small.
Yeah. Now, it's going to take him a while to win this game.
As
Probably.
is the way that this Lantern deck plays.
See, the milling strategy is, not the best when you're... There seems to be some confusion over Porphyry Nodes. I feel like it has worked out the way it's supposed to thus far.
It has. It kills a creature with the lowest power, and that happened to be 0.
Yes.
Core Spirit Dancer.
I mean, Zach could even win this game with a Pyrite Spellbomb. The very exciting Pyrite Spellbomb. I don't know if you guys were here for Rich talking about, that's going to help.
What, the Codex Shredder or the Maelstrom Pulse?
The Maelstrom Pulse.
Right, so he can use that to take down both of the Ley Lines of Sanctity. Also punishes the fact that Aysha played the second copy.
Although, she knows that Zach's deck plays Hand Disruption.
So but if you have one
one in play, then I guess you don't need the next one.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess...
Bye-bye. There goes those. And he was too impatient, apparently.
He could have
got a 3-for-1.
The ultimate value.
Oh, thank God she's playing the reasonable Dryad Arbor. She's going to run it out there, but this Periphery Nodes has completely decimated her board.
Yeah, this is probably the best drop of honey I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, yeah.
This is...
It's a big drop of real honey.
Right? This is real nice.
Yeah. Periphery Nodes, of course, is like like a future time something shiftedy whatever version of it?
It's one of the cards
color
that was...
shifted?
Yeah, that was color shifted.
Color shifted.
Precisely.
I knew it was shifted.
But it's a really, really powerful effect for just 1 white mana.
Drop of honey, though. Why did that card exist?
As a green card? I have no idea.
It's some random green card from Arabian Nights, but it feels like they fixed it. You know? And finally, Periphery Nodes has done its job and disappeared.
At this point, it's just elementary.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about maybe what we wanted for lunch or something. Nothing to see here, folks. Her board is completely decimated at this point. Another Leyline of Sanctity, and you can tell she's not happy about it. But now Zach is going to start just getting aggressive, and he's just going to start milling and getting the job done.
Yeah. Ooh, well, that's
Kataki.
a card you don't really want, I guess.
I'll probably make her get rid of that one. I don't think Gaddock's relevant at this point, right?
Going back to talking about, though,
lunch? Oh. Sorry.
No, innovation in Modern.
Oh, right, okay.
I think
task.
that...
Stay on target. Gotcha.
Yeah, we're watching this Lantern Control deck in action. I think this is...
I
in recent memory, I feel like this is just about the best example of that facet of Magic. And I think people who've, played Magic for a long time, they remember what it was like to have to build your own deck. And, when you first get introduced to the game, when you're building your own deck, that's such like an exciting and, self-defining experience doing that. And Modern gives you the room to do that and still be competitive. And the fact that we're watching Zach, still win matches in this building with that deck, which is, so well associated with him as a person, it's just it's a beautiful thing. It's like one of the best things you could ask for in Magic.
In concept, yes.
You think so? I mean, I don't want to
I guess what I mean is,
I'll never
in
watch
practice, it's a little bit less exciting.
Yeah.
That is going to do it, though, for our live coverage here in round number 5. We'll be back with Time Walk after these messages.